Welcome to Crying in the Cinema. I'm Keshia.
I'm Sam.
And welcome to our episode 6 about food. So there are 2 films, 2 kitchens, 2 very different ways women find meaning in food. Here we are crying over fried green tomatoes and boeuf bourguignon.
The 2 films. Fried Green Tomatoes is the title of that film, the first one you mentioned. Although I think in the UK it was called Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. It's like a longer title.
And it's actually based on the actual book.
Based on a novel. The second one, Julie and Julia, is another film that was a bit more recent. So
also based on a book.
Yeah, true. Based on 2 books.
2 books, right. Mm-hmm.
So to introduce these stories and to explain why we chose them and why we connected them. As Keisha mentioned, they both feature food prominently as a kind of a device for the narrative and a device for the plot. Something that our characters center their lives around. But they're also, the connections go much deeper than that. You know, these are both female empowerment stories, and specifically using a narrative based around flashbacks. So women inspiring other women throughout time. And I think that's quite inspiring for the viewer as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like generational inspiration because the film, both of them, goes back and forth really. And we love that kind of film.
Yeah.
So should we start with fried green tomatoes?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is a film that I described to some people as the best film they've never heard of, because I certainly hadn't. And actually, after we watched it, we realized we couldn't even remember who recommended it to us, so it just sort of appeared in our lives.
Well, actually, it was from me, but I forgot where exactly I got it from. I think Exhibit 1 could be me finding like lesbian films. Could be that. But the second one could be Letterboxd top 4, like from a celeb that I took notes. And it was intriguing for me because I've never heard of it before as well. So that sort of film that was like really interesting. And the poster was like a bit.
It looked so goofy. It was something that would turn me away from watching it. Honestly, that and the goofy title. But actually, it turned out to be really, really good. So this film came out in 1991, directed by John Avnet. And it's a very interesting story that kind of grows in the telling. So we start off with this woman called Evelyn Couch, played by Kathy Bates, the iconic Kathy Bates. And she goes to this retirement home with her husband to see a distant relation.
Yeah, at her husband's auntie, who's quite volatile.
She's very unfriendly. So she only wants to see Ed. She doesn't want to see Evelyn. So Evelyn has a lot of time to kill in the sort of living room, the shared communal living room of this retirement home. And she gets talking to this woman, this elderly woman, Ninny Threadgood. And Ninny starts to just, apropos of nothing, regale her with tales from people that she knew as a child in the local town. And we start to see these stories in flashback. And then Evelyn finds it so captivating that she keeps coming back every time they visit this relation. And then eventually, even without that prompt, to go and see her just on her own volition. So through these flashbacks, we get introduced to the Threadgood family. They suffer a tragedy in the early years, and it affects the upbringing of this girl called Idgie and someone else called Ruth. These 2 ladies, and Idgie is very tomboyish, Ruth less so, but she gets married off to a very horrible man, and Idgie is looking for a way to break her out of that situation. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise then.
Yeah.
And then throughout the story, we find that Evelyn is being inspired by these tales of Idgie. Idgie invents this character of this Amazonian warrior called Tawanda, and she always yells that when she's standing up to bullies.
Empowerment.
Yeah, and then Evelyn in the present day storyline finds herself embracing the spirit of Tawanda herself, and it's a really great it's really great spectacle in the film.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks after we watched it, you kept on saying like Tawanda.
Yeah.
Basically, this is not only about these white families in the South in America, but there are heavier themes that was shown later in the film. So it was quite nice and cheery. The first half, really. And
by the way, when we say South America, we mean southern US.
Southern, sorry, southern. Yeah, sorry. What? Yeah, USA.
Yeah.
So, trigger warning: racism, violence. From Ruth's horrible.
I think there is homophobia as well. I think there are some homophobic slurs that get thrown around.
Yeah. So, as you have mentioned, the Whistle Stop Cafe, which is quite an important part, well, the kind of the epicenter of it, really becomes some sort of like a sanctuary for these women and the people around them.
Yeah,
in
so
the community.
Iggy and Ruth set up this cafe. Yeah, I forgot to mention that in my plot summary. But that's kind of their almost like their excuse to spend time together.
That's the thing. So food is a code for intimacy.
Yes, I agree.
Without actually saying that's quite gay.
We can express love through cooking.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing personally.
Yeah.
And about all these tragedies, grief, like food becomes like some sort of comfort, clearly, in this film. That's why I remember when we watch it and we're like, oh my God, this is dark. It's like when it goes back to the food scenes, we're like, oh, like that's kind of the function of food in this film, I guess.
Yeah. I think that it's quite a broadly ranging story. You get so many textures of different emotions in there. I really wasn't expecting it to be hit so hard. But yeah, there's a lot of moments of grief, and there's lots of levity as well. And the themes are very serious. The ones you mentioned, for sure. I mean, also one that stood out to me is like this idea of minorities kind of helping each other to resist injustice, and the pervasiveness of injustice, especially in that place and time. But also we can kind of draw similarities to present day struggles as well.
Well, not hot take. This is a comment. I don't know why, because it's in southern USA. This film wasn't big in southern USA. They didn't really like it, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was just wondering kind of the psyche behind it, why. But anyway, that was just some comment that made me like a bit weird. Because to be honest, my point is this actually is a very great film to kind of sell the southern hospitality.
Yeah, I mean it all looks.
Makes me.
There were some horrible people in the film, but there was also some like lovely people and lovely kind of environments and and cultural kind of.
And the food, obviously, as we have known, they're very famous for their fried food. And we're talking about, should we ever make the fried green tomatoes?
Yeah, we should.
And we Googled some of the recipes. So basically, green tomatoes, just like unripe tomatoes, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think for Sam and I think food is very important for us as well. So it's such a fun thing when we watch a film and they talk about this like iconic recipes and food.
Yeah, it's like a sensory experience, this film. It's there's something very visceral about this film. They kind of don't sugarcoat things. The only one thing that they notably do sugarcoat, or at least they create sort of a cushioning around it, is the core relationship. The two women who are clearly in love. And to be honest, I would have preferred, that was the only downside for me. I would have preferred if they'd been more explicit, but it almost made sense for the narrative that it wasn't, I guess.
It should be. We should talk about that more on our writers
yes
room segment.
We'll do that.
Save it for
We'll do that at the end.
The next segment. But anyway, should we talk about the cryometer? Did we cry?
I did towards the end. There was some characters who left the plot, and that made me cry. I think probably a 5, which I believe is that light sobbing.
For you is high. I think I was 6, and it was it's like in the middle when things gone grim. I think, yeah. So yeah, it was emotional. I feel like it's a complete film. There's some sort of romance, some sort of action,
and just characters that feel so fleshed out and real, and badass. Like Iggy is like, she's really cool, and like, I mean,
she's woke.
The bee charming thing. She is able to reach into the nest and get the honey, and the bees don't sting her.
Yeah, fun fact: the actor, which please you have to mention after this,
Mary Stuart Masterson.
Yeah, she did her own stunt. There was supposed to be a stunt person to do her stunt with the bees, and this person didn't want to do it.
They chickened out, which is crazy.
So she did her own stunt. So that's iconic.
Yeah. So I mean, just so much to love in this film, so much to be kind of in awe at, and I was in awe at how much they fit into the plot, how many characters, subplots, world building, almost like it felt like, I mean, it's set in the real world obviously, but just these details that make the world feel rich, make you feel immersed in it. But I forgot where I was when I was watching it, because it just pulled me in.
Wow, that's very well said. Should we go on to the next one?
Yes, yeah.
So Julie and Julia, I watched this film years ago in 2009 when it came out. And I've always loved it. So Meryl Streep.
Yeah, well, this came about because I asked you what your favorite Meryl Streep performance was.
Yeah.
Because we had just watched Mamma Mia.
And Devil's Wears Prada?
Yes, those two. And then you recommended this, so we watched it.
And We Love Food again.
Yes, yeah.
Do you want to tell?
Yeah, so this film is directed by Nora Ephron. As you mentioned, 2009 it came out. And we follow 2 different women in different time periods. One is Julia Child, played by Meryl Streep, and the other is Julie Powell, played by Amy Adams in the present day. And Julie Powell is just someone who's interested in cooking, and in writing, and she wants to write about cooking. So she starts to do this. She challenges herself to use Julia Child's recipe book and do all 500 plus recipes that
one
she
per
did.
Day.
Well, several more than one per day.
Yeah, sometimes. Well,
in 1 year, because it's within the span of 1 year. That's the challenge.
Well, she was blogging. That's the thing. It's a very millennial hustle throwback.
Yeah. The blogging thing.
Yeah, and for Julia Child, there was some sort of with Paul. Her husband.
Paul Child, played by our love Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, the Tooch. And
who by the way loves cooking in real life.
I know.
That's his content that he does online.
Yeah, he cooks Italian.
And we joke that his kitchen looks like my kitchen, and so we have a theory that he breaks into my house every night to cook.
Yeah, the Tooch, shout out. Like, I don't know if Meryl Streep actually cooks in real life, but Paul definitely.
Oh, yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, maybe not.
Anyway, so I think this one is a bit less grim, but there are sad aspects to it as well.
It's a lighter film overall. I mean, there is some throughout the film. We see Julie struggles with her husband or partner. I can't remember if they're married, but they have a bit of a fight that always felt like he was being an arsehole to her, and then in the end she sort of he like quote unquote forgives her when she didn't do anything wrong, and then she just took him back, and it was like, that's so depressing.
Yeah, that's crazy, because in The Devil's Wears Prada, it's not like that. You don't want to be with that man.
Yeah.
It's just, so this is okay. My kind of feminist lens would be like, wow, these films always like, they make the boyfriend, the partner, whatever, in this heterosexual relationship kind of annoyed that somehow their girly has a hobby. God forbid they have a hyperfixation on something, and then they felt that there wasn't any time for them. So yeah, it's a classic trope, really.
But yeah, I mean, the positives in this film are like to do with certainly similar to Fried Green Tomatoes, like the women inspiring women across different time periods.
Yeah. So food is such an empowerment. Like, Julie, she's kind of bored. This part is very relatable. You get bored of your day job, and you kind of need something to do that you're passionate about. So this is kind of like finding empowerment through cooking, which I'm sure many people can relate. We were very much inspired to cook these Julia Child recipe, and we just knew IRL. You can find it online.
Yeah, I made the coq au vin.
Yeah, it was the Julia Child one.
It was. Yeah.
It's literally so good. It's the best, Sam.
Yeah, I loved it. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
I never like plates, but it was so good. Oh, Julia Child, you are amazing.
There was some comedy in the films. I mean, there's this sequence where they sing Psycho Killer, but they change it to Lobster Killer because she's killing the lobster.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the recipes are harder than the other, really. Also, if you know, you know, don't meet your hero.
Yeah. Yes. What about Cryometer? Where did you learn for this one?
Did I cry?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't.
Think
Yeah, probably 0.
Yeah, I was 0 too. Cold indifference.
Yeah.
But that's not to say it wasn't an enjoyable film, and it was touching in some areas. There's this big subplot with Julia's sister, Dorothy, played by Jane Lynch, where she's getting married.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very sweet story. Yeah. So, and the marriage as well between her and Paul.
Yeah, I think the actors are all very strong.
Yeah, really good cast. Yeah.
So it was enjoyable. Yeah, and we get to see a lot of the Cordon Bleu, the most famous cooking school in the world, in Paris as well, and you can learn a thing or two about cooking as well while watching this film.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want to move on to the writer's room?
Yeah, we should actually.
So, do you want to go first?
Yeah, actually. So I don't have too much to say, but I will definitely say the most important thing is like, come on, why is it not a gay film? Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yes, sure, you kind of have to tiptoe in that time, but I mean, if you were queer and stuff like that. But I think this film is progressive enough to touch more of that part, since it's fictional anyway. Like Julie and Julia, maybe I can't say more because it's based on a true story. Well, I can have like an idea of what I would prefer to do, but yeah, I just felt that they should have been braver to put that.
I agree. Yeah, we should have seen some private scenes with them. Yes, they have to be careful not to be found out, but that doesn't mean that that bit of information cannot be divulged to the audience.
And I think if you can kind of in a way promote this film as a queer film, it would have been more successful. And it's not just about success. I mean, it would have been more more people would watch it, and we would love that.
Well, yeah, I think yes. I think maybe I would have heard of it if they'd gone more in that direction. Maybe it would have been embraced as a cult classic, and instead, it's a film I've never heard of which is just surprisingly good.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, I mentioned this a bit to you before. That I have this big problem with. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of joking.
You were questioning a lot.
So that the narrative of Fried Green Tomatoes, for the most part, is very good. Like the way they cut between the present and the past, it all flows very nicely. I would say. However, let me give an example to show my point here. If you grew up right and your granddad was telling you all these stories about, oh yeah, me and like Bill and Tom, we all used to like hang out together and like do this and we did that. We raced cars against each other. We went up to the old gorge and like threw rocks at each other. We did all these like things like me, Bill and Tom, right? And then one day you get in a time machine somehow. You go back in time and yeah, there's Bill and Tom going to the gorge. There's Bill and Tom. What was the other thing I said? Driving those cars. But your granddad's not there. And this film is like that, right? Because the woman who is giving us these stories, she's not in the flashbacks. So it's very confusing about like, why not? And then I, naturally my brain starts racing. I'm like, oh, I figured it out. It's going to turn out that secretly she is one of these two women.
Yeah.
And certainly things towards the end point, there's a lot of things that feel like they point towards her being the grown-up version of Iggy. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out, actually, when you dig into it more, that can't be true. And certainly in the novel, it's even less ambiguous. There are very distinct characters in the novel. Then why didn't they just put Ninny, this woman, in the flashbacks?
Like the third wheel.
Yeah, she could have just been in the background. Like one line, she's like, "Oh, hey, Ninny, good to see you." Like that one line of dialogue would have rescued this, would have prevented this plot hole.
There's so many discussions online, especially on Facebook.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that she was Iggy, and I left the film like when the credits rolled. I wasn't sure. I was thinking she was as well. Especially because the end of the film reveals that Iggy is still alive and around. And then Ninny stood there with like a knowing smile and you're like, oh. But then it turns out it wasn't. And actually the biggest plot hole to it is because Ninny only finds out certain information about this crime that happens.
Yeah.
She finds that out later. Whereas if she was Iggy, she would have known from the beginning. So basically,
but the question is more for the writers on the film, really. Why? Because the raw material really shows the difference. So it just why?
Yeah.
Can you please answer us why?
If we missed something, if we did miss Ninny in the background,
I don't think we did.
Please do let us know because I will issue a public apology if that's the case.
Ranting about this, right? So I want to just like talk about the themes comparing these two. Oh, unless you have other things to say about Julie and Julia.
Happy to move on.
Do you want to change anything now? You're good.
Well, it's like you said with Julie and Julia, like because it's based on a true story, feel like I can't change much.
Well,
I guess we could. I just would make the boyfriend less of a dick.
Yeah, it's just like such a cliche. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just gonna talk about food again. To conclude these two films. So, for Fried Green Tomatoes, food as survival. So there's a lot of, if you like films that is like strongly about like rebellion and like if you're woke and that would be great. And then if you're girl bossing, Julia and Julia is really good because it's like food as self-expression, productivity, kind of finding yourself kind of in this capitalist world. I don't want to say it like that because I really love the film, but you know what I mean. And so and both I found when I think about it, Fried Green Tomatoes, Iggy and Ruth, they find food and then within the community, and then Julie finding food within a community online, which is just an interesting like different eras and stuff like that. But they are both kind of craving for a community, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think in both films, I think food is definitely a means of like communication. I mean, you mentioned intimacy as well. I mean, very similar kind of ideas between communication between friends and couples, cultures, societies, and across time. And yeah, it helps people come together, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to add?
Just that if you enjoyed this episode, you should give us a follow, subscribe. You can contact us using the email address contact@cryinginthecinema.com. You can also send us a message on Instagram, which is crying.inthecinema.
Yeah, so I'll be putting a lot of contents, and let us know if you did any Julia Child recipe or if you ever tried to make a green fried tomato.
See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.